Howdy foamers, how's it going? On October 24th, I was on my way home from Atchison and I decided to stop at the Topeka deadline to see what I could find. First, we see a nose-to-nose pair of SD60Ms with one being a Triclops. Behind those two is an H3 SD70 Mac followed by an H2 SD70 Mac. Behind the two Macs is an SD75 that definitely looks like its days are numbered. Coupled to the SD75 is a very rare find. Contrary to what it says on the side, this Bluebonnet GP30 is actually owned by BNSF and not LTEX. It was part of a group of GP30s that were sold to LTEX in the 2010s, but BNSF bought them back for a rebuild program. However, not very many of them were actually rebuilt, and most of them were either later scrapped or resold to LTEX, while many of them ended up in random deadlines across the country, notably Topeka and Galveston. A little ways behind the Bluebonnet GP30 is a fake bonnet that I know I've seen before, as well as another Triclops. At the east end of the deadline is a BN Whiteface SD40-2 that I've actually seen leading before. Also on the east end of the deadline are a pair of wrecked original paint Jeeps. Way back in the deepest confines of the deadline is a Santa Fe Warbonnet and a rare BN SW1200. Shifting the focus back to the east end, we see an H1 SD40-2 coupled to another fake bonnet. A little ways further in are two more Macs and a GP60M. The executive is actually of sentimental value to a friend of mine. At the very east end of the yard is the grand prize, a Santa Fe Blue Dress rotary snowplow coupled to a Santa Fe Warbonnet -9. This anomaly was originally constructed as a steam locomotive tender and was heavily overhauled in the 50s or 60s if I remember correctly into this thing. It served the Santa Fe and BNSF until the 90s when it was eventually pulled out of service. However, it's not retired, so there is potential that it could come back, although it's not very likely. This thing really should be in a museum and not back in service, if anything. On the south side of the deadline, we see a BNSF SD45-2 rebuild. A little ways further down is this Snoot-Nose SD40. Far more interesting than the Snoot-Nose SD40 is this BN GP38-2 that somehow still has its original logo and original road number. Coupled to that rarity was my last interesting catch in the deadline, this BN SD40-2 with a hideous remote control array. On the way home, I accidentally caught an H1 leader from half a mile away. The next day on October 25th, it was finally time for the semi-annual Wichita Toy Train Show and post-show foaming.
Have the cockroach and HO stand.
We have the post-war Santa Fe Warbonnet F3.
What in the goofy all is this? Jebediah, 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 Jebediah. Making really realistic sounds. Here comes the heritable. My approach not really. Heritable. No electricity. This is so cursed. Durango and Silverton 060. Durango and Silver. That's just a crime. I feel insulted. That is not a K37. Look, it fits perfectly.
After colonizing McDonald's, we ran into the VSAG NSI that had both a KCS Ace and a CP AC44 trailing that I fumbled by only taking crappy stills of. Immediately after getting to Belle Plaine, our spot for the day, we would be jump scared by the H-bar gal with a solo gevo for power. Right on the heels of that manifest was this empty grain train with an ace leading.
Gevo.
Oh.
Which just makes no sense at all.
Next would be a westbound Z crossing the creek. Right behind that Z was another. Next up was the highlight of the day, the SCBL SCO being led by an H1-9. Almost immediately after that train cleared, another eastbound came by, this one being the Z Lac Chai with another H1-9 trailing last. After a bit of a wait, the QCHI-PHX made an appearance. The last train before we went our separate ways was the ZWSP SBD with a K5HLB on the leader. BNSF only has like 2 gevos with this horn on their roster, so this was really cool and something I'd been waiting for a long time because I wanted to hear a K5HLB, but I never wanted to intentionally go out for one.